You can have the most, flawless engineering specs in the world.
Right, absolutely.
But if you can't control the pacing of a boardroom, your multi-million-dollar project is basically dead on arrival.
Yeah, because language in those high-pressure environments, it isn't just about conveying data. It operates as a series of strategic levers.
Strategic levers. I really like that framing.
I mean, the right phrase at the exact right time can mitigate risk, establish authority, and completely shift the momentum of a negotiation.
And that is the precise focus of our deep dive today. Welcome to the show. We are looking at a presentation deck titled Technical Discussions.
A really fascinating deck, by the way.
Oh, totally. And for you listening, our mission is to look past the basic dictionary definitions of 5 common business phrases to decode how they are actually weaponized in the field.
Weaponize is a great word for it.
Right. So let's look at the building blocks of collaboration. Every successful project starts with a solid foundation, which brings us to our first concept, the cornerstone. The deck gives this example. Reliability is the cornerstone of our brand, especially for high-load gearboxes.
So architecturally speaking, a cornerstone is that very first massive stone you set in a masonry foundation.
The one that holds everything else up.
Exactly. Its placement dictates the precise alignment of literally every single piece that follows. So when a lead engineer uses this word in a meeting, they aren't just saying something is important, they are setting a non-negotiable anchor.
It's like the keystone of a Roman arch, right?
Right.
If you remove it, the entire brand or system simply collapses.
That is spot on. They are drawing a line in the sand. If the budget gets slashed, that cornerstone cannot be compromised. But, setting that foundation is really only step one.
Because the minute a project goes live, you have dozens of moving parts, which brings in our next phrase-keeping teams in the loop.
Yes, the classic corporate phrase.
Right. The deck's example is, please keep the engineering team in the loop regarding any changes to the specs.
And this is honestly where so many project managers completely fail.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, they treat being in the loop as this passive administrative task, like just CCing someone on a massive email chain.
Oh, yeah, we've all been on those endless threads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in high-stakes engineering, it's actually an active synchronization strategy. It ensures that a slight pivot in design doesn't trigger some catastrophic failure in manufacturing down the line.
Okay, that makes total sense. But even with a solid foundation and perfect communication, projects inevitably face friction. Let's talk about clearing the path.
The inevitable roadblocks, yeah.
Right. The deck highlights the phrase stumbling block. Using this example, the current material cost is the major stumbling block for mass production.
A very common scenario.
But I actually want to push back on this framing a bit. Isn't calling a massive budget deficit a mere stumbling block kind of, dangerously downplaying the actual financial risk?
Actually, that downplaying is exactly why it's such a powerful psychological tool. I mean, think about it.
Okay, I'm listening.
If a director calls it a crisis or a dead end, it triggers panic. It damages investor confidence instantly.
Oh, I see. So a stumbling block is just a temporary hurdle that we can clear.
Exactly. By deliberately framing a major financial hurdle as a stumbling block, you signal to the room that this is a solvable engineering puzzle, not a permanent wall. You're controlling the emotional temperature of the room.
You're framing panic as a process. That is brilliant. But what happens when that process stalls, when you're in a meeting that's just bleeding time and spiraling into endless tangents?
That is where you deploy the ultimate verbal kill switch.
Cut to the chase.
Yes. The source gives a perfect high-pressure scenario. We only have 10 minutes left, so let's cut to the chase. What's the final budget?
That is such a direct power move.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're skipping the boring plot and getting right to the action. When someone uses that phrase, they're instantly reclaiming authority over the room's pacing.
They're forcibly pulling everyone away from the minutia and back to the singular metric that matters. Okay, so we've set our cornerstone, kept teams in the loop, cleared stumbling blocks, and saved time.
Which leaves the future.
Right. Designing for tomorrow. Our final term from the deck is scalability. The example states, we need to ensure the scalability of this platform to support future upgrades.
Scalability is really the ultimate metric of forward-thinking engineering. It's the proof that a design isn't just good for today, but actively anticipating tomorrow's demand.
It's like buying clothes for a rapidly growing kid, right?
Yeah.
You need a system that has room to grow without bursting at the seams.
That's a great analogy. Without scalability, a successful project eventually just becomes a victim of its own growth.
And communicating that capacity clearly is what gets the funding approved in the first place. So for you listening right now, mastering these concepts isn't just about sounding smart.
No, not at all. It's about providing absolute clarity in those high-pressure environments.
Exactly. But I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We've talked so much about literal definitions and controlling the room.
Right.
But what if the true secret to global business isn't the vocabulary itself? What if the real winner is simply the person who knows exactly when to deploy these linguistic anchors to completely control the power dynamics of the meeting?